Alright folks, welcome to another beer review, and today we're going over to Northern Monk and we're having a look at one of the Old Flax Store project beers, part of the Hong Kong mini-series, brewed in collaboration with Heroes Brewing, and this is OFS064, and this is a black sesame and miso black IPA. Clocking in at 5.9%, I think that is. Yeah. Brewed with Citra, Incognito, Cascade, Cashmere, Columbus, Mosaic, miso paste and black sesame. So really interested to see how those flavours work within the confines of, well, any beer really, but especially a black IPA. And when Northern Monk do use like culinary ingredients in their beers, I think they do it really well. Whether it be some of their more like gimmicky side of things, like the Seabrooks collaboration, and of course the Aunt Bessie's stuff, which now you can get the Aunt Bessie's strawberry, what's it called? Basically like a raspberry strawberry pale ale or something like that in a 4-pack in supermarkets now. But they do those sorts of beers really well, and I think the experimental nature, I mean, it's hard to consistently brew great beer if it's just the usual sort of styles, I suppose. But when you're doing some really outlandish things, or doing things that you wouldn't necessarily see in not just beer but in like specific styles, then of course, you know, it's not going to work all the time. So yeah, I've had some beers where it's like I didn't really like that, blah 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 blah, but a lot of the time, especially part of their patrons project where they work with like chefs, restaurants, eateries and that sort of stuff, I think that works really, really well a lot of the time. So I'm interested to see how they tackle the black IPA with those wonderful ingredients. Looking really nice in the Northern Monk Teku. Is that jet black? I'm not too sure. I've got a feeling it's more like a really dark sort of oaky colour. The lighting looks a lot brighter than it actually is. But yeah, I'm just getting a really big, bold sort of like dark brownish hue, like coffee, without it being like a jet black coffee. But anyway, nice sort of lining of a tan looking head. So let's see what we get on the nose. It's actually quite subtle in terms of the ingredients that they've put in there. In fact, you would, even knowing that there's miso paste and sesame, black sesame in there, you're not really picking that side of things up in terms of like the aromatics. And it just smells like a really nice, modest sort of black IPA, to be fair. But it does smell lovely. A little bit of licorice in there. The beer is pretty much straight out the fridge, so there is a chance at this stage that those aromas will be masked because of the fact that it's, or muted I should say, because it is a bit chilled. Maybe getting a bit of that sesame. More like toasted sesame seeds than like sesame oil. Interesting, very interesting. So we'll see how it translates on the flavour. So cheers folks. I can tell you right now, there'll be people who take one sip of this and think it's the most insipid disaster of a beer that they've ever drank. Yeah, this is definitely one where you're either going to like it or you're really not going to like it. Me personally, it's a little bit weird, but it's not a WTF sort of weird, if that makes sense. In terms of it being a black IPA, it's not going to be the hoppiest one you've ever had. I think some people may say it's not the greatest example of a black IPA, all in all. Not saying it's a bad black IPA, but I've had much more flavoursome black IPAs, if we're just going off that sort of stuff. With the addition of the miso and the black sesame, just like the nose, a little bit subtle, but I would say you get the sesame a little bit more than the miso coming through. There's like a little dashing of a soy sauce like flavour coming through. A little bit of a licorice flavour in there. There's definitely an aftertaste to this beer. That's what I will say. And for me, it works. Is it a masterpiece? No. I've had much better from Northern Monk, yes. Does it fall into that category of being a gimmicky, silly beer? No, it is quite modest. But then the sycophant in me, I don't even know what the word sycophant means. It just sounded good to refer to myself as a sycophant. But the weirdo in me, which is a big part of who I am, especially these last few months. If you've seen my output on Instagram, Jesus Christ. Very public meltdowns. But we're not here to judge my character, because I think you prejudge that before I even open my mouth, to be honest, but it is what it is. But the strange person inside me kind of wishes it was just a little bit more out there. It's clearly evident the more you drink it, those flavours do build up. But that being said, you know, if you did go all out with that sort of thing, word of mouth would be, a few people would try it. They'd go on Untappd, Insta, whatever, and say how much they didn't like it, and it would probably put a lot of people off. Although that doesn't work with me. When I hear that something's so awful, weird, or ridiculous, kind of piques my interest. But to me, this is it's quite a nice beer. It really, really is. I don't think it's a great black IPA. That's what I will say about it. But if you want something a little bit different, then if you see it on tap, get yourself a third. By the time you're watching this, I don't think it'll be available anywhere aside from cans, to be honest. But I'd say it's worth giving a go. I've quite enjoyed the old Flax Store project stuff that they've done. Some a little bit more normal, for lack of a better term, than others. but some pushing a boat out with unique combinations and additions. But now I'm going to enjoy the rest of that can. But I can't just help feeling that I want a little bit more. I want it to be a tiny bit more silly. I want it to almost push me to the point where I don't like it. Do you know what I mean? It's like me with smoked beers. When I see, because I'm always looking for a nice smoky beer, not necessarily just like a Rauch beer, but something that's got like smoked malts in it. I'm like, I like smoky beers, so I'll go and buy them. And when it's just proper, just too subtle, I personally feel a little bit let down. I'm not let down by this beer by any stretch, but there's a wanting there, if that makes sense. But no, not bad at all. Definitely worth giving a go. And if you're a little bit apprehensive, share the can with someone. Well, yeah, it looks very nice. Yeah. Would be interesting actually, reflecting now, to trying this at room temperature. So there's nowhere for those additions to hide. But as it is, very, very happy with this. So that was OFS064 or 64 Black Sesame and Miso Black IPA, brewed in collaboration with Heroes Beer Co. out of Hong Kong. Give it a go if you see it, and if you have tried it, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. Have you tried any other beers from this series? What's your opinions on adding ingredients like that to beer? Yeah, let's start a discourse for me to completely ignore people's comments like I usually do. Community driven is the clueless drinker. Anyway, I can see that someone's trying to call me, so hopefully it doesn't cut out the sound completely. But yeah, go check out Northern Monk, go check out Heroes Beer Co, and hopefully you'll join me next time. Oh, I kind of matched the can in this. Why did a man of my size opt for the red option and then wear it without any sort of shirt or sweatshirt or jacket to cover up the disgrace that is my body, quite frankly. Anyway, thank you for watching. You all take care, stay safe, and I shall hopefully see you all later. Cheers.